Have you ever heard of a plague that makes you dance uncontrollably? Picture this, a mass hysteria where people are taken over by a compulsion to dance. Not just a gentle sway or a rhythmic tap of the foot, but a frenzied, unstoppable jig. This is not a scene from a bizarre modern art installation but a historical phenomenon known as the dance plague or dancing mania. This strange and terrifying event primarily swept across mainland Europe between the 14th and 17th centuries. It was a social contagion, a psychological puzzle, and a mystery that has perplexed historians and scientists for centuries. Imagine entire communities, from children to the elderly, dancing in the streets day and night for days, weeks, even months, until they collapsed from exhaustion, or in some cases died. Now let's delve into history and explore the first occurrence of this peculiar plague. The first recorded instance of the dance plague dates back to the 14th century. This peculiar event unfolded in the small German town of Aachen in the year of 1374. Let's delve into the mystery of this unusual outbreak. It was an ordinary day in Aachen when suddenly, without any apparent reason, people began to dance. Yes, you heard it right, they danced. Not to the rhythm of a catchy tune or in celebration of a festival. It was a spontaneous, inexplicable compulsion that seized them. They danced with an intensity that was both mesmerizing and terrifying. Imagine the scene. The cobblestone streets of Aachen, usually bustling with everyday activities, now filled with hundreds of people swaying, twirling, and gyrating in an eerie rhythm. Men, women, and even children all succumbed to this mysterious affliction. They danced for hours, days, even weeks on end, seemingly unable to stop. Their feet bled, their bodies ached with exhaustion, and yet, they kept on dancing. The onlookers watched in helpless confusion as their friends, neighbors, and loved ones danced as if possessed. Doctors of the time were baffled. They could not find any physical ailment or mental disorder that could explain this bizarre phenomenon. The local clergy, on the other hand, believed it to be a punishment from God or the work of the devil. The dance plague of Aachen was a spectacle that defied logic and reason. It was a spectacle of human endurance, of the inexplicable power of the mind over the body. It was a spectacle that left an indelible mark on the history of the town and the people who lived there. The dance plague did not end in Aachen. It was just the first of many such incidents that would occur in different parts of Europe over the next few centuries. Each outbreak was as inexplicable and as terrifying as the one before it. That was just the beginning of a series of strange events that swept across Europe. From Aachen, the dance plague spread across Europe, creating scenes of mass hysteria. Like wildfire, it tore through the continent, reaching the shores of France and Italy, among others. The plague wasn't picky, it didn't discriminate. Young or old, rich or poor, it seized anyone in its path and compelled them to dance with relentless fervor. Imagine, if you will, the streets of Paris in the mid-14th century. A bustling metropolis alive with the hum of everyday life. Suddenly a man starts to dance. It's not a merry jig or a courtly waltz but a frenzied, unstoppable dance. He's joined by others, one then two, then a dozen. The dance continues day and night in rain and in shine. The city, once filled with the sweet sounds of lute and laughter, now echoes with the incessant rhythm of 1,000 tapping feet. In Italy the story was no different. From the vineyards of Tuscany to the canals of Venice, the dance plague swept across the land. Italian authorities, much like their French counterparts, were at a loss. How does one fight an enemy that isn't seen but felt, an enemy that dwells not in the body but in the mind? Attempts were made to control the situation. Some towns brought in musicians, hoping the rhythm might soothe the dancers' fevered minds. Others took a more drastic approach, isolating the afflicted in makeshift dance halls, away from the general populace. Yet despite their best efforts, the dance continued, as relentless as the tide. The plague left as mysteriously as it came, but its memory was far from forgotten. The echoes of that ceaseless dance reverberated through the annals of history, a chilling reminder of the time when Europe danced to the tune of an unseen piper. Even today, the dance plague remains one of the most peculiar chapters of our past, a testament to the strange and inexplicable forces that sometimes grip the human mind. What could possibly cause hundreds of people to dance uncontrollably? This question has intrigued historians and scientists alike for centuries. Today we delve into some of the theories behind the dance plague. One of the most popular theories is mass hysteria, a phenomenon where a group of people exhibit the same bizarre behavior without a clear cause. It's like a wave of madness sweeping through a crowd, causing individuals to dance wildly, oblivious to the world around them. Mass hysteria often occurs during periods of extreme stress, and the Middle Ages, when the dance plague was rampant, was certainly a time of high tension. Could the fear of war, famine, or disease have triggered a mass psychological break, resulting in these strange dancing episodes? It's a possibility. Another theory ties the dance plague to religious fervor. The Middle Ages were a time of intense religious belief and superstition. Dancing was not only a form of entertainment but also a part of religious rituals. Some historians speculate that the dance plague could have been an extreme form of religious ecstasy, or a misguided attempt to ward off disease or bad luck. In these cases, the dancers may have believed they were performing a sacred duty, and their fervor could have spread to others, creating a chain reaction of dancing mania. Then, there's the theory of ergotism. Ergotism is a form of poisoning caused by eating grains, particularly rye, infected with a fungus called ergot. This fungus produces a toxic compound similar to LSD, which can cause hallucinations, spasms, and yes, even uncontrollable dancing. Some historians believe that the dance plague was an outbreak of ergotism, caused by the consumption of contaminated bread, but while this theory is intriguing, it has been challenged by others who point out that ergotism also causes gangrene and other severe physical symptoms, which were not reported in cases of the dance plague. There's also a more recent theory that suggests the dancing plague might have been a social phenomenon, a sort of public performance or protest. This theory suggests that the dancing was not spontaneous but organized, a way for the oppressed and the desperate to express their discontent and desperation. Each of these theories offers a different perspective on the dance plague, a window into the minds and lives of people in the Middle Ages. But despite all these theories, we still don't have a definitive answer. Was the dance plague a psychological phenomenon, a religious rite, a result of poisoning, or a form of social protest? We may never know for sure. The true cause of the dance plague remains a mystery to this day. One of the most famous instances of the dance plague occurred in Strasbourg in 1518. The tale begins with a single woman, Frau Trophia, who stepped into the city's narrow cobblestone streets one summer day and began to dance. It may not sound alarming at first, but her dance was not a joyful jig or a choreographed waltz. It was a wild, frenzied movement, devoid of any rhythm or grace, more akin to a convulsion than a dance. As the days passed, Frau Trophia did not stop. She danced through the heat of the day and the cold of the night, without rest, without food, without any apparent care for her well-being. Her actions drew the attention of the townsfolk, who watched in awe, confusion, and fear as her dance continued unabated. But then, something even more bizarre occurred. One by one, other people began to join her. It started with a handful, then dozens, and soon, hundreds of Strasbourg's residents were dancing in the streets, seemingly unable to stop. The city was seized by an inexplicable dancing mania. The streets, once filled with the usual hustle and bustle of everyday life, were now the stage for a macabre spectacle, as men, women, and even children danced uncontrollably, their faces twisted in pain and exhaustion. The city authorities, puzzled and desperate, sought help from physicians and clergy, but to no avail. The dancing continued, day and night, for weeks on end. But the dance was not just a bizarre phenomenon, it was a deadly one. As the days turned into weeks, the dancers began to collapse from exhaustion, dehydration, and heart attacks. By the time the dance finally ended, it left in its wake a trail of death. Reports suggest that as many as 15 people were dying each day at the height of the plague. The Strasbourg event was not an isolated incident, but it was certainly one of the most dramatic and well-documented cases of the dance plague. It left an indelible mark on the city and its residents, a chilling reminder of the power of the mind over the body and the thin line that separates sanity from madness. In the aftermath, authorities and scholars tried to make sense of what had happened. Many theories were proposed, from religious fervor to ergot poisoning, but none could fully explain the bizarre and tragic events that had unfolded. Even today, more than 500 years later, the dance plague of Strasbourg remains a mystery, a chilling tale of mass hysteria that continues to baffle and fascinate. The Strasbourg event serves as a chilling reminder of the power of the dance plague. As we delve into the annals of history, we are often confronted with events that defy explanation, events that remind us of the complexities of the human mind and the mysteries that it holds. The dance plague, with its inexplicable onset and devastating consequences, is one such event, a dark and haunting chapter in our shared past. The dance plague may be a thing of the past, but its legacy continues. This bizarre phenomenon, which once seized Europe in its grip, has weaved its way into the fabric of our popular culture. From literature to film, music to visual arts, the dance plague has danced its way into our collective consciousness. In literature, we see authors captivated by the eerie spectacle of the dance plague. They weave tales of towns taken hostage by an unstoppable urge to dance, using the metaphor of the plague to explore themes of societal pressure, collective madness, and the frailty of human will. Film and television have also found inspiration in the dance plague. Whether it's a period piece that aims to recreate the historical events, or a horror flick that uses the plague as a backdrop for supernatural happenings, the dance plague provides an inherently dramatic and visually compelling narrative. Music, with its intrinsic connection to dance, has also found a muse in the dance plague. Musicians, from classical composers to contemporary artists, have composed pieces that attempt to capture the manic energy and eerie beauty of the plague. Beyond its cultural impact, the dance plague also shaped our understanding of mass hysteria and crowd psychology. It stands as a stark reminder of the power of collective belief and the susceptibility of humans to suggestion. It has informed research and studies into how groups behave under stress, how panic can spread, and how our minds can influence our bodies in the most extraordinary ways. The dance plague is a testament to the complex interplay between psychology, culture, and physiology. It's a chilling reminder of a time when dancing was not an expression of joy, but a symbol of inexplicable terror and uncontrollable compulsion. Even though the dance plague remains a historical enigma, its stories continue to fascinate and bewilder us. As we delve deeper into its mysteries, we're left to wonder, what makes us dance? And more importantly, what makes us stop? So, could a dance plague happen again? This question may seem absurd at first glance, but let's dig a little deeper. In the modern world, we have made significant advancements in medical knowledge and societal understanding. We've come a long way since the days of the dancing plague, and our grasp of both physical and mental health has grown exponentially. Today, we have the ability to diagnose and treat a vast range of illnesses, many of which would have been utterly perplexing in the 15th century. However, it's important to remember that despite these advancements, there are still many aspects of the human mind that we don't fully comprehend. The power of suggestion, the influence of mass hysteria, and the effects of stress and trauma on the mind and body are all areas that continue to be explored. The dance plague was a phenomenon that was likely tied to a complex web of societal, psychological, and physical factors. These elements all came together in a perfect storm, leading to an event that seems almost unbelievable today. Could such a confluence happen again? It's difficult to say. While we've made significant strides in many areas, the world is still full of uncertainties. New diseases emerge, societal pressures evolve, and our understanding of the human mind continues to be challenged. However, it's safe to say that with our current understanding of medicine and psychology, a repeat of the dance plague as it occurred in the past is unlikely. The conditions, both societal and medical, that allowed for such an event are largely absent in our modern world. But this doesn't mean we can rest on our laurels. The dance plague serves as a stark reminder of the power of the human mind, the influence of societal pressures, and the mysteries that still surround human behavior. While we may never fully understand the dance plague, it serves as a stark reminder of the power of the mind and the mysteries of human behavior.